ധനമന്ത്രി നിർമ്മല സീതാരാമനുമായി CNN News 18 പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ എഡിറ്റർ മറിയ ഷക്കീൽ നടത്തുന്ന അഭിമുഖത്തിന്റെ തത്സമയ സംപ്രേഷണത്തിലേക്ക്.
On its own given a written reply. So that's where I think the minister's statement, Piyush Goyalji's statement, that probably this whole negotiation has been hijacked. The farmers' protest, which is on questions of they not being clear, probably is gotten hijacked by such elements for whom protest in India is now becoming an exercise to recover some of their lost ground, bring the brotherhood from all over the world, and also have all their old boys associations stand up and speak from their respected think tanks centers, and also those who have a column space available for publishing in global newspapers to publish articles against this government. Sum and substance of what I want to say here, Maria, it looks as if these are all windows which of opportunity for those disgruntled elements which are hijacking every protest to destabilize this government.
Ma'am, since you're talking about this, the protesters have been linked to Khalistanis, they have been called ultra-leftists and Maoists. These protests have been dubbed as also those by rich farmers and middlemen or commission agents. Would you agree that these accusations have further vitiated the atmosphere and it is in fact leading to perhaps mistrust?
Maybe, because that can be one of those arguments which the farmers can say, oh no, look, this is what we are being dubbed as, and so on. We have not stopped talking with them. They are welcome to come and sit and talk as farmers. But if you as media, for instance, are able to go to the ground and see the kind of demands which are getting latched on to this protest, and also the letters which have gone to the negotiating ministers, now adding on issues which have nothing to do with agriculture or the farm laws. Release so-and-so who's being held for some other, Naxal-related crimes. Release so-and-so who has been working on some other issue which has nothing to do with the farm-related issues, but Article 370. Who is doing all this? I call upon the farmers who want to engage with the government to distance themselves from these elements and say, we have nothing to do with them, we are here as farmers, we want to talk with our elected government. I would honestly request farmers to please distance themselves from those who are latching on to every protest in this country only for them to take out their frustration that they are not able to, win a political argument against this government because this government is doing everything transparently. Now, if each of them are, shopping from one to another protest because they have something personal, visceral against the Prime Minister, I think this is the time that the farmers who are genuinely coming from all parts of Punjab and Haryana and so on, it is time for them to distance themselves from these elements.
Ma'am, the Prime Minister has said reforms will give farmers new markets, access to technology, help bring investments in agriculture. A majority of agriculture economists agree that farm bills were long overdue for agricultural reforms. Despite its best intentions, would it be fair to say that the government failed in communicating the message to the farmers and the finer points were lost in translation?
Well, there's always a reason that we can look at for any developing situation. The government, not just this government, for last 20 years, governments of different colors and hues have had this discussed, have had this, looked in through various committees. Various committees have gone through several iterations, and after that, it had come to the parliament. In Lok Sabha, it was elaborately discussed, and the minister gave point-on-point answer for every question of the opposition. And the Agriculture Ministry has come out with the data to show how many stakeholder consultations had happened, how many farmers were engaged in this conversation, And if all that happened, post which the Punjab government also chose to say, right, we are going ahead with our own laws. We have not treaded, we as Government of India have not treaded onto the state list at all. These farm laws are invoking that which is in the central list. And that central list pertains to trading in agricultural commodities, which is entirely centre's business, and trading happening between states. So interstate trading of farming goods, farm goods are very much within the realm of the central list. And it is only that we've done. Your APMC, which comes from the State Act, is intact.
Right.
And from the centre, the MSP is intact. Where is any state's domain being encroached by the centre?
You know, the government did put out some data on the number of training and webinars that were held with the farmers from June to November. If the process was so consultative, why did it come via the ordinance route during pandemic?
During the pandemic, we were very clear that this has gone through its process, and we should, during the pandemic itself, with the kind of rural resurgence we saw, with the kind of contribution that farmers were making to the economy despite the corona, if reforms for benefiting them is not happening because it's pandemic, how unfair is that? We were trying to reform the labor laws. That also happened during the pandemic. We came up with 1 lakh crore for agricultural infrastructure. Why wouldn't you want to ask me as to why I'm giving 1 lakh crore during the pandemic for agri-infrastructure? It is like that. Every step will have to be taken in good succession so that those who desperately have waited now for more than 60 years for a reform in agriculture. Maria,
yes,
we are often pointed out, just let me say this to you.
Yes.
We are often told, oh, Prime Minister Modi is nowhere near 1991 reform agenda. Look what Dr. Manmohan Singh under the leadership of Narasimha Rao did. That was reform. After that, nothing has happened. Forgetting that Dr. Manmohan Singh, after that, literally after 20 years, after 15 years, became the Prime Minister again, and he couldn't do this. He couldn't do it in 91, he couldn't do it in between 2004 and 14. Although it was in their manifesto of 2019. And we do it now. Although then the agriculture minister during 2004 to 14,
yes,
Sharad Pawarji had
That's right.
written letters saying we should privatize, give opportunity for the farmers. Now, a prime minister who couldn't do it despite his achievements of 1991, who couldn't do it in his 10 years, and people do point out to Modi saying, oh no, you've not achieved much, when he does the same reform to which all of them subscribe till today. What does it mean? Does it not highlight their hypocrisy? That is not, does that not highlight the fact that they are seeing a political opportunity to destabilize an elected government?
So
That's
are you
exactly
saying,
what is happening.
So are you saying that this is the 1991 moment for Indian agricultural reforms?
No, there are several that Modi has done between 14 and 19. Several. GST, IBC, labor codes, systemic reforms in many of those sectors which have got opened up, as a result of which you're getting FDI. Banking sector, regulatory bodies, each one of them is a substantial systemic reform which is being carried out. Bringing some 1,000 odd, 1,500 odd archaic laws out of the box and saying no longer will these be useful because they were becoming instruments of discretion and therefore corruption was breeding. We removed them all. So Modi's list of reform continues.
Okay. I'm talking about a specific point in the farm laws, ma'am, and much of the opposition is just one of the 3 new laws. In this is the most contentious seems to be about the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act, or the FPTC Act. It is the FPTC Act and its provisions that are seen as weakening the APMC mandis. It permits sale and purchase of farm produce outside the premises of APMC mandis. Will there be a rethink on this?
Maria, what is the wrong about it? If the farmer is given a choice to sell in the mandi or outside, and if MSP continues, the comfort of MSP continues, he chooses to sell where he wants to. And I'm a bit worried about this very patronizing attitude of, people saying, oh no, what if outside the mandi price is lesser than the MSP? The farmer will be forced to sell. I'm sorry, look at the Indian farmer. In spite of COVID, he didn't wait for any of the opposition parties to support or stand by him or anything. He is going on doing his work. And he is deciding on his crop, he is producing. You think he won't be smart enough to know whether he wants to sell in the mandi or outside? A Congress party and others in the opposition wanted the APMC to be disbanded.
Yes.
We have not disbanded it. And in spite of that, the argument is, what if they sell outside of the mandi? Hare, you were going to disband the mandi itself. What are you asking about the mandi and outside the mandi now? Your written statements in your manifesto clearly say we want to disband the APMC. Today we've not disbanded it. But you're saying, oh my God, the farmer will go outside of the mandi and sell? If it makes economic sense for the farmer to go outside and sell it, so be it. He should be having the choice.
Okay.
Why are we speaking for him?
Okay, ma'am, what would be the fiscal cost if MSP is made mandatory? Because once this is made mandatory, many other states would start questioning the procurement policy, which favors a handful of states.
When we say mandatory, Maria, let us understand one thing. If there has been one crop season within a year, that is 12 months, there are 2 in a year. If the MSP has not been provided in even one crop season, then there's a reason to doubt that MSP may not continue, and therefore there's this fear that you might altogether let it go and you want to hardwire it. But I'm telling you that even now, the maximum procurements are happening even as we speak. So, I can't understand. And also, look at what the Prime Minister has done. As soon as he came to power, he said, look, I want to double the farmers' income by 2022.
ധനമന്ത്രി നിർമ്മല സീതാരാമനുമായി CNN ന്യൂസ് 18 പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ എഡിറ്റർ മരിയ ഷക്കീൽ നടത്തിയ അഭിമുഖത്തിന്റെ തത്സമയ സംപ്രേഷണമാണ് കണ്ടത്. കർഷക നിയമം പിൻവലിക്കില്ല, അത് താങ്ങുവിലയെ ബാധിക്കില്ല, കർഷക സമരം ദേശവിരുദ്ധ ശക്തികൾ ഹൈജാക്ക് ചെയ്തു തുടങ്ങിയ കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് ധനമന്ത്രി വ്യക്തമാക്കുന്നത്. ഈ ബുള്ളറ്റിൻ പൂർണ്ണമാവുകയാണ്. കൂടുതൽ വാർത്തകൾക്കും വിശദാംശങ്ങൾക്കും Malayalam.news18.com സന്ദർശിക്കുക.